Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining in. Those of you that were in church today, we're waiting for you, and I hope now that you guys are back, you're ready to be part of the today's program. Just go ahead, like we do it, go ahead and invite someone because we like not to be selfish in this programs. Okay. Today, guys, I have, there's so many things that are going on in our country, Nigeria. Every day you open the news, you just hear one thing or the other that is going wrong in Nigeria, which is really a fact. But you know what? Those of us in the diaspora, we are not also happy about it. But I feel from time to time when we get an opportunity, we bring you things that are happening here that makes you know that people in the diaspora are doing everything that we can to try to panel beat the image of our country. So much is going on there that is not right in Nigeria, but we got to do that against all odds. When you say you're from Nigeria here, there are so many things that go on in people's in people's minds. But I can tell you that it's more bad than good. Okay, because of what they hear in the news. It doesn't matter how much people try to say, "Hey, why are you being negative? Why are you being negative?" But I can tell you that these people, they're not making things up. They react to us based on what they see. Today, our special guest is someone who is doing us so much proud here in Toronto, Canada. He is no other than Mr. Chidozie Ojobor, actually Dr. Chidozie Ojobor. He is a very smart young man. He's a PhD candidate. I'm going to find out from him if he's already through with his PhD. But he won the global scholarship for combating antibiotic-resistant superbugs. This is not like he's doing 419. This is not that he stole. This is not like he tried to hijack a plane. This is not like it's Boko Haram. This is not Ruga. This is not Fulani headsmen. This is a smart PhD student, not just in any university, but in the number one university in Canada, the University of Toronto. He is there making waves. I'm going to bring him in very soon. I saw him a little bit, but I'm going to try to bring him in to talk to us. But everybody that is here, I I thank all of you for being here. As soon as Chidozie joins us, we will bring him in. I'm going to go ahead and just text him to know that we are already waiting for him. Okay, guys. But go ahead, do what we normally do, share the video so everybody knows that we are already live. Okay, I'm just gonna call and let him know that we are waiting for him to come live. Everything we do here is raw and direct. We don't edit it. Yeah, we might edit one or two things, but we'll let you know what's going on as it is going on. Hello? Okay, so we're on now. We're waiting for you to send a request and I'll accept it. Thank you very much. Okay, so I just placed a call to our special guest Chidozie Ojobor. Today I'm going to try to bring him in through Facebook and not WhatsApp because he is here in Toronto, and I'm going to pray that he has good network connection. When that happens, it is better for us. A very Ako, Raphael Chiamaka Ajere. Thank you so much, Raphael. How was church today? Morenike, Glorious Child, Grace Johnson. Thank you so much. Val Ojo, my man. Thank you very much for being here. Sonny Lawrence. Thank you so much, Sonny, for being here. You know what? Why am I touching the screen now? Let me go on here. It's better when I am accessing the live from another phone. Okay, so I don't keep pushing my hand here, but let me scroll up so that I can know who is coming new. Um, so guys, I know a lot of you have expressed disappointment, continue to express disappointment with what is going on in Nigeria. I am that too. I am that too. Okay, so let us see, let us see, let us see. Let's. I want to connect from here, and then I'll bring people in. All right, guys, but go ahead and share this. I can see a few people have shared, but we need more of you to share this. Go ahead and share it. Go ahead and share it. Okay, okay, I see all of you. I also see that some people have started a watch party, which is good. And usually I don't get to see the people on the watch party, but blessing best. Thank you so much. Um, thank you so much, everyone who is on. I'm just waiting for Chidozie Ojobor to join in, and we will bring him in as soon as he joins us. So, Chidozie Ojobor, if you can hear me right now, everyone is waiting, everybody's ready. Somi Cosmos, happy Sunday, Chidi, love from Ottawa. Thank you so much, Sonny. Let's place a call for Chidozie. Hello, Chidozie. Yes, yes. Yes, are you watching now? Just go to my page. Just go to my page. If you go to Chidi Kadekwanyan, you will see I'm on right now. We're actually watching you. I'm placing the call right to you, on the program. Yeah, so scroll up and down my page, and you're gonna see it. What do you see now? hmm So maybe you need to refresh it. Uh, you refresh it now. You should see the poster. Okay, so you see the live now. Yeah, just join and then we'll bring you in. I'll be waiting. Once I see your request, I'm gonna ask. Okay, you just joined right now. Yes. So as soon as you send me a request to bring you in, I will answer to your request. Meanwhile, James Shegun Adebomi, thank you so much for joining. I see all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Uh, do you want me to send you the request? Oh, you just sent me a request? Okay. I'm waiting for it to become active here. Yes, I see your request. I'm going to accept it. Okay. It says bring you up. Ladies and gentlemen, I am bring in Chidozie Ojobo. He's going to join us very soon. Um, okay. All right. How are you?
I'm doing very okay. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Good, 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 good.
Thank you for having me.
Chidozie Ojobo. How are you, my brother?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Happy Sunday to you.
Yes, so happy Sunday to you too. I know you've been busy moving around, so I'm not even sure you had time to go to church today.
I didn't actually. I
Okay,
didn't.
okay, okay. Okay, okay. So, are you able to keep your phone steady or would you be holding it like this? Is that okay?
Um, I think it's actually fine. It's quite steady like this.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Just so it doesn't keep shaking
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chidozie, it's good to have you today on the program. Like I was saying before you came, there's so much bad news that we keep hearing from Nigeria, and even for Nigerians in the diaspora. A lot of times when you hear things about them, it's always one bad thing or the other. But I was excited when I read. It wasn't the. I saw it in a Toronto newspaper actually, and I was attracted because he was talking about a Nigerian. He was talking about a Nigerian winning the global scholarship for combating antibiotic-resistant superbugs. So I was very excited. So I said, I have to blow this open because it's not every time they keep hearing bad news about us. So I really thank you for giving us something to be proud about. Now,
Thank you.
let me start from where I always start.
Mm.
Um, Tell me, who is Chidozie Ojobor? Where are you from? Just tell us a little bit about you. Who are you for
Mm.
people who don't know you?
Right. First, thank you for having me on your show. I feel honored and I totally appreciate it. Um, so Chidozie is, I come from Enugu State in Nigeria, particularly from Nsukka, actually. I spent most of my childhood life in Lagos. Grew up in Lagos. Um, had my primary and secondary education in Lagos before I eventually moved down to University of Nigeria for my first degree. So my first degree was in microbiology. I graduated from microbiology in 2011. Um, and then the university brought me back to lecture, and so I lectured in University of Nigeria as well for about 2.5 to 3 years before I then moved here for my PhD. So I did have my first and second degree in University of Nigeria, and then I moved here for my PhD. Yeah.
Wow, awesome. This program is under this program, we try to focus on overcoming limitations and breaking barriers. Okay, so I'd like to ask you, how did you end up studying microbiology at the University of Nigeria in Soka? Did you did you always know that you study microbiology, and did you just have it? Was it smooth all the way, or were there some challenges? First of all, I'd like to know how you ended up studying microbiology.
Oh yeah. So this is a question that most people actually ask me, and that's because growing up and from for people who interact with me often, they tend to ask, "Oh, why didn't you study medicine? Why did you eventually go to study microbiology?" But for me, I did have a very special childhood. Um, so my sister, I lost my elder sister when I was 10, and she died to typhoid fever, and that was for me, that was the revolutionary experience for me and my entire family, and that was when I even knew what typhoid was. So I got interested in understanding what caused the disease, how the disease was disseminated, with the help of my elder brother Kenneth, who guided me. And then I started reading about infectious diseases as a young kid, so I got really interested in them. So by the time I was writing jam, I knew I wanted to, and I realized there was a course actually that would allow you just study organisms and understand how they cause diseases, their pathology, and all that stuff. And I said, you know what, I might as well do it, and eventually paid off. I'm glad I did it. So that was how I ended up studying microbiology actually.
So, did you have any challenges in passing through school, the University of Nigeria? I know that first and foremost, for you to enter to the University of Nigeria, you have to score very high marks.
Mm.
And then when you're at the University of Nigeria, I'm also a Lion, so I know for you to go through University of Nigeria, you came out with very beautiful grades.
Mm.
That's we'll talk about the scholarship later.
Mm.
So, how was your school days? Was it very easy? Did you have to study under some very difficult conditions? Tell us about schooling
My
in
school
UNN.
days, oh, you're making me feel all nostalgic now. My school days was beautiful. One of the most memorable phases of my life happened in my one of the most memorable phases of my life happened in my school days at University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I wouldn't say it was exactly easy. It was a mix of, tough and smooth. Of course, when we started out with school, there were too many people in a class, and you had to deal with having to, be in a class of 600 people, and the lecturer was like, would really literally be in front and talking without a public address system. And most people aren't going to be hearing what he's saying. Sometimes you're in class, there's no space to sit, you have to sit on the ground and write. These experiences, those things between the time you finished and the time I finished, to be honest, those things haven't really changed. you know? So we had all those, crazy experiences. And I have also learned that students just take these experiences differently. Some students take it as an opportunity to be discouraged and not to work. Some people take it as an opportunity to study more, to cover up for, the lack of facility and all that stuff. So for me, that was one of, the experiences I had, which wasn't great. The experiences in the hostel too was not great either. You know, I lived in Njoku for about 4 months and I ran away. I said, there is no way, there's no way I'm going to live here. You know, I lived in Njoku for 4 months. It's beautiful to live with, other young people who have great aspirations and all that, and then you guys can share a couple of things together, ideas, culture, and beliefs and all that. But no, the living condition was terrible, and as I speak with you, it still is. So,
Maybe before you go far, you lecture too. You lectured in U of T, I think, right?
yeah,
Do you lecture in U of T? Okay, but you also have had experience of the U of T hostel and school environment, and you've seen students complain about conditions in U of T. Just compare it with
I know, you're totally correct. So when students complain about, in fact, some of my students when they complain about, lab, when we're in the U of T lab here where I work in the Faculty of Medicine, when they complain, I just laugh. I just laugh.
what did you complain about? What did you complain about?
Sometimes, okay, so we're actually dealing with some of my colleagues who we do research together. We're complaining recently about a broken shaker. So a shaker is an equipment we use in a microbiology lab that we grow bacteria in. It broke for
Yes.
just 2 days, and I mean we had the option of actually there were other shakers, just that they weren't ours. They were from for another lab, but you could use them, and they were complaining bitterly that this shaker has been broken for over 48 hours, and it has and I just laughed and said, I never saw a shaker. I never saw a shaker as an undergrad. It's so interesting and funny. Yeah, so the
Do you know?
experiences are
Do you know?
different.
Do you know why I picked that? Because you see, a lot of people actually give up in life because of what they perceive to be obstacles and challenges. I mean,
Mhm.
someone I know. Why I asked you that is because I live here. I actually went to U of T when we came here
Oh,
with my wife. We had to go do like a semester course in architecture to make up for whatever.
right.
So when we were there, I saw what students were complaining about, and for them, this was their obstacle. This was what was going to make them nearly stop studying the course. And here you are, they're breaking their head about the shaker for 48 hours. You went through how many years? You never shot, you never studied. So even way back now in Nigeria, a lot of young people they are giving up, they're committing suicide because of one thing or the other. And I'm thinking, these people, it's not, I'm not blaming them, but just like you have said it, people take different experiences in different ways. But the
Mm,
reason why we do this program is just to be able to show people different ways that you can look at the same problem.
right.
But thank you so much for that insight. Okay, so go ahead, tell me, just compare UNN and U of T a little bit more before we come back to the scholarship.
Yeah, yeah. So as I was before I talked to, I was before I talked about the school hostel and the living conditions. I was also talking about another basic problem is facilities, right? So I went through 4 years studying microbiology at University of Nigeria, and I even did a master's in medical microbiology. And I must say that the depth of the curriculum is quite solid. because I wouldn't be here in the first place if I didn't have such strong foundation in terms of theoretically, but in terms of practical studies, which leads you to doing research, which leads you to doing the things that really matter in the world. That's where translational science lies when you're able to do practical research. The, it's zero back home, zero back home. And there is even no basis for comparison, to be honest. There is no basis for comparison. And this is why I'm always very, very willing to to support people coming from back home into this place. I'm always very, very open and willing to help them integrate into their educational system here, because the moment you come from there to this, the gradient is huge. No matter how smart you are, the gradient is huge. There are things that you see and they will be foreign to you. In fact, there are things that I saw. I knew the working principle in my head. I had drawn them back home. I had labeled them back home, but now that I'm seeing the machines, I can't use them. That was that was the very first challenge I had. Having to learn how to use equipment and all that. Eventually, you catch up, and then you most likely even do better because you understand the working principles and all that stuff. And if you pay attention to your studies, you'll be a high flyer. But it is a big problem, and I'm hoping that in the near future, Nigeria will improve on that.
Wow, there's a someone that is watching on So Justified. It says, "My Oga, I'm about to complete my master's cell and infection biology. My thesis is in the chair of cell and development biology. I'm in Germany. If you can remember, I want to know if you can help me to get a PhD with grant." And oh, what happened? Suddenly, I didn't see the thing again. They're trying to knock it off. Okay, well, so what this person is saying is that well, I'm gonna maybe try to connect both of you after this.
Oh,
It
that's
says I'm
fine.
well grounded in practicals and use of computer apps in biology. Okay, now so just a fact. At the end of this, I'll try to connect you with Chidozie. Chidozie, do you know the amazing thing? What amazes me is that with the limitations that you had and we all had, studying back home, where you had, I think the advantage is that it made your brain think more, because now you had to imagine things. You had to, your brain had to think so much calculation. You had to paint these pictures in your head. Meanwhile, somebody who was already working with machines, apps, computers, data, their brain doesn't bother about it because it's already there. But you, without those computer aids and all that, you had to imagine so much. That was awesome. But now let's talk about the scholarship, which was what made me know about you.
Mm.
Tell us about that. Tell us all about this scholarship, how you got to win it, and every other thing around it.
I, it came as I wouldn't say, it came as a wonderful thing to me when I heard I had won it. So it's the Empower Global Scholarship. It's called the Global Citizen Scholarship, and it's basically for students who have distinguished themselves in their different crafts and research or studies, as the case may be, who live international students who live in North America. And when I saw the scholarship, I did see that it was being hosted by an institution in the U.S. And most of the time, and things are like that, the most recipients all come from the U.S. And so I looked through the people who had previously won it. They were all people who studied in the U.S. And but for me, I thought that at this stage of my work that I could actually put out what I was doing out there, and that the idea was also to write about what I was doing in such a way that other people could relate to it. And for me, that was what I did. I put in for the application, and they sent me an email after a while, after they made decisions and said, what, your story resonated with the judges. We think you're doing a wonderful thing. And then I was one of the four people that were selected out of over 1,000 applications. And for me, I was happy. I was really happy, and also being the fact that I turned out to be the first Canadian university student to win that. Also, meant a lot to me, and then to my university as a whole, which was why they had to publish the story, and then to my boss as well. So I'm glad.
and to Lions too, and to UNN too. And
Exactly. To you, and I agree. I agree. I totally agree.
you can't, you cannot, you can't, you must always factor us in the equation because we trained you.
I agree.
If
You're absolutely correct.
all those, you think all those trips to prefer. I'm sure you studied in prefab building in UNN.
I did. Those hours in prefab.
Those
I
hours in
agree.
prefab. I'm walking up at 9 in Jocko,
I know.
and all of those, you cannot forget them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chidozie, what is this thing? Tell me about this thing that you're studying, this combating antibiotic-resistant superbugs.
Mm,
Tell me,
mm. Yeah.
tell me
So,
about it. What is that thing that they saw
mm,
that they liked?
mm. so, so just in a nutshell, antibiotic resistant superbugs. You know how people fall sick, they take antibiotics, yet they don't feel better. So people are down with bacterial infections, they take antibiotics, they don't feel better. One major reason is because there has been an abuse of drug usage over the years. These bacteria have developed very intelligent mechanisms to prevent drug actions on them. So if you just think about it, if you think about, if your door to the kitchen is always open and every single day somebody comes through that door to steal food from the kitchen, what would happen over time is that at some point you have to lock the door and prevent the person from coming in. And this is what the bacteria have done. Humans and medicine has always attacked them in a certain kind of way. And over time, they develop means to, fight back. And in fighting back, they become resistant to these drugs. And so one of the ways they do this is, so when we take drugs, one way is drugs always look for a binding site on the bacterial surface to bind to before they can be internalized by the bacteria and finally kill the bacteria. And so what happens is that these bacteria over time they modify that part that the drug binds to. They modify it. And so when you take the drugs that previously killed them before, those drugs cannot kill them again because the drugs can no longer bind to those places anymore. And so this has been, and this is just one of the ways they do this. They do this through many other means too. So this was actually what influenced my research. So we've been thinking about how to develop entities that could then fight this bacteria. We call them superbugs because they fight against antibiotics. So and one way that when I joined my lab here in Toronto, my research group were working on something quite interesting, which I found very fascinating, and it is using viruses to kill bacteria, using viruses to kill bacteria. And so there are viruses that, and these viruses, interestingly, do not infect humans. They do not have any predilection for human cells. They're only able to attack prokaryotic cells, which are the bacterial cells. And so, you know, but my work then went a little step further, and then we are like, okay, apart from the using the whole virus to kill bacteria, are there portions of the viruses that could kill bacteria? And so we found a relative of those viruses, which is just the tail of the virus. So my work is basically using the tail of these viral-like particles to then kill bacterial cells. And the interesting thing is, in any case where the bacteria develops resistance to this, we are able to genetically engineer those viruses, those tails of viruses, to then kill the bacteria. So this way, we're able to keep up with this antibiotic resistance. So that's the fascinating thing about the work. We're trying to we're trying to see how we can, rise above this era of superbugs because it's a big problem. According to the Center for Disease Control, by 2050, over 10 million people will die worldwide as a result of superbugs. It's a big problem. My sister, who died in 1999, 20 years ago, was treated with antibiotics and she didn't feel better afterwards. So when I think about my work, there is a personal reason for me to also connect to it. I connect to my work in a very, very personal way too, because Ginika, my sister, also passed on, even after she was being treated with antibiotics. So for us, the work is going well. There's huge prospect, and we're thinking of taking it to the next level.
Man, thank you so much. What your work becomes even more interesting, and I can understand the passion that you have, and I feel your passion when you think about a place like Nigeria where drugs now you don't even know which drugs are good or bad, and usually get people get diagnosed, and the next thing they even when it's when because I keep anyway, I don't even want to go into that, but Nigeria has a serious situation of people being prescribed the wrong drugs and
Mm,
people taking drugs that are not the right thing,
mm,
and abusing the dosage for the drugs. Maybe they don't have money; they're supposed to go through that the normal cycle of the antibiotics.
right,
They stop halfway, and it makes the organism develop
right,
resistance.
right,
That I know, and your research will really, really be beneficial to a country like Nigeria because then we'll be able to prevent people who die from very minor illnesses that could have been cured before.
right.
Even things like tetanus and all those kind
Good.
of. Is tetanus a virus or bacteria? I don't even know.
Clostridium tetani is a bacteria.
It's a bacteria. Okay, you see, but now people even die out of it. So what you're doing is very, 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 very interesting and beneficial to our country. Have you thought about a way of anyway, I won't even bother you with that. You see, all these whole things, why it's annoying to me? I wanted to even say, have you thought of how you can help? And well, annoyed, our country is so frustrating to me. Like, see people like you, see smart, how? When you come out of Nigeria, you're doing things, people recognize you, they give you scholarship, they give you an award, they listen to you, they use your, see now, see you. 90% of the knowledge you gathered is from Nigeria.
Hmm.
You see, it's not from here now. You didn't do your first degree here. You didn't do your by the time you're finishing your master's, you've already acquired the knowledge.
Hmm.
It was in Nigeria.
Hmm.
But I can assure you that if you present a paper in Nigeria concerning what you're thinking, somebody will take it, tear off the cover of the paper that you used to present it, put their own person's name, submit it, tell you that sorry, the minister didn't consider your paper, but still use that to change name, collect money, and they won't even do it. It's very annoying. So
It's sad.
I won't even bother asking you, are you working with the Nigerian government? I'm telling you, that's why we're doing this revolution now, because it's annoying.
It
We
is.
want to showcase that Nigerians are not stupid.
Hmm.
Young people are smart, they're intelligent, they are
Hmm.
resourceful, they have
Hmm.
what it takes. Look
Hmm.
at you, look at what you're doing in Toronto, in Canada, and you're winning a scholarship from some people in the US. And yet, if you were to even talk to somebody in Nigeria, for you to even get to the right, nobody will even hear you. They'll just
Hmm.
frustrate the life out of you.
Hmm.
So I thank you for what you're doing. What's the next thing for you from now? What are we looking at? Are you going to come out with a drug very soon, or what's going to be coming out in the future?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, before I even go into that, I'd like to, buttress a little bit on what you said in terms of how Nigeria has been, frustrating to very young and smart people. I would like to, I mean, take this opportunity to even, and your platform to also vent one of my displeas with Nigeria in terms of that. It's so sad.
Go ahead.
Lot of Nigerian youths are facing setbacks simply because the government or the country whose sole purpose should be to first secure the future of the youth or the citizenry generally are doing exactly opposite of what they ought to do. Sometime in 2015, I had myself and over 100 Nigerian students had gotten the presidential special scholarship to any top 25 universities in the world. Now, this was when President Goodluck Jonathan was president. He had established this, scholarship for special and gifted Nigerian students. So first, you have to make a first class in the university before you qualify, and then after making the first class, you go and then write an exam and then they pick the best 100 and send them to any top 25 universities in the world. Now, I was one of those 100 that were picked in 2015. And as I speak with you, this was something an exam we wrote in Abuja, over 1,000 of us, and they picked 100 best of us. In that, I remember vividly, I had about 94% in that exam. And do you know that the new government came in, scrapped it? 100 of us were kept back in Nigeria. That was the same time, thankfully, that was the same time that I got a scholarship from the Canadian government, which was what brought me here. My own government could not fund, and that was not just me, that was 100 others. And that's the future, and they've stopped that scholarship now. Now, that's the future of the country that they're jeopardizing. There's a lot of younger people who are smart out there, who are doing really well, and who cannot. The difference between people like me and them is opportunity. It's opportunity. There are many smart people back home. But the difference between what I'm doing now and why they can't do it is because I have an opportunity and they don't, which is sad. So if the country that you're from cannot provide you those opportunities, what could be sadder than that?
My brother, you see, a lot of people keep telling me, Chidi, why do you focus on the negative things about Nigeria? Why don't you talk about the positive things? You see, even when I try, even see today, I'm trying to talk only about the positive things. That's why I brought you up. But you see the problem. We can't even talk about the positive things that Nigeria is doing in Canada without talking about the negative, because the negative far outweighs the positive. The negative things in Nigeria. But look at it. Look at what you have just said. You, out of 100, out of 1,000. Can you imagine? And the rest of the other people, imagine there were 100 of you. Now we would have been trying to interview 100 more
Exactly,
people.
exactly.
You know, who'll be doing like you, but no. And this remember, we just talked about people from 1 year. I remember there was a time you see, Nigeria is just joking with itself that we're jokers, because, and I think they know what they're doing. The people in government know the truth, but they try not to highlight it just for political reasons. The real problem in Nigeria, they are joking with it. We're sitting on a time bomb, and
Mm.
that's why you see me wearing this orange beret, because I believe in a revolution now. It is time for us to begin to resist the government. This is not about fighting, or but a passive resistance, something that if they keep seeing, they keep knowing that a lot of people are dissatisfied with what is going on.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
in the diaspora, we are dissatisfied. You
Absolutely.
are killing our future. Those of them who are 70, 80, whatever, they know that they've already raped there is nothing left for our generation. Nothing,
Hmm.
absolutely nothing. I
Hmm.
went to UNN the other day, I felt like crying. It's continued from when you left till now. It's gotten worse.
Sad.
I took someone to take me pictures of the hostel. You can't believe it. People are living 10 in a room.
It's sad.
10, like people in a prison.
It's sad.
You know what I'm saying? So it is very sad and very annoying.
Hmm.
But what can we do? What can we do? We just have to appreciate the privilege that we have, the opportunity that we have, and make the most of it. That's what we're doing.
True.
On that note, I really want to thank you for flying the flag, for not giving up. A lot of us also, let me speak to that. A lot of people come here to the diaspora, and once they cross that ocean, they think, you know what, nothing concerns me with back home. They just eat burger and burger and fries.
And fries,
I
burger
forget
and fries.
I forget every other thing. They don't care
Mhm.
about nobody back home. They just go and speak accent, wanna go. Once they learn how to start to speak wanna gonna, gonna wanna,
It's
that
over.
is it.
It's over.
They don't care about anything. But people like you keep striving, you keep putting our name there, you don't forget your roots, you're still one other thing I'm impressed about is that you still have your head on your shoulders. You're still the normal soccer boy. Ebo, Ekabo onye Nsukka.
Abụ m onye Nsụka, onye Nsụka, ezigbo onye Nsụka.
You can assist of more, man.
Afuma.
See, you didn't forget your root, and you are an inspiration to
Thank
a
you.
lot of people,
Thank you.
inspiration to me, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
I want to really thank you for coming to our program, and any other time we call you to come and speak to us, please oblige us that opportunity
Thank
once
you.
more.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much. I
much,
appreciate it.
Chidozie Ojobor. Is there any last words you want to drop for us as we close?
Yeah, first I want to thank you for giving me the platform to, talk and reach out to people. And I want to hope that, this will be like a wildfire for lots of young people. When the fire starts here, the goal is for it to keep burning forward. Like you said, if we had, many more, people here who are doing well, and not just here too, if we could replicate what we have here back home. Unfortunately, the environment and the does not allow for that. But we are hoping for a better Nigeria because Nigeria is ours, and Nigeria can only be built by Nigerians, and no other person would do it for us. So first, I really want to thank you for the platform. I appreciate it. I hope that it comes up as a seed for some people, the younger ones, to want to pursue their dreams. And for me, I would say that I'll just keep working hard and then keep setting my eyes on the goal because the work has just started, and this is not the end. Instead, it's the beginning. So we keep moving. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chidozie. I'm gonna let you go and then maybe take yourself off from over there.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
not able to take it
All
from
right.
here. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So, guys, that has been Chidozie Ojobor uh, being with us and sharing with us what he is doing as a lecturer in the University of he also won the Global Scholarship for combating antibiotic-resistant superbugs. Let me explain superbugs. Here they call anything that's like an insect, any crawling thing, no matter how small it is, they call it bugs. You know, spider is bug, fly is bug, ant is bug. So microorganisms are tiny bugs. So when they say antibiotic resistant superbugs, what they mean is that those organisms, those bugs that are they become so tough, they become super resistant to antibiotics. That is what our brother is studying, how to be able to attack them again, because more and more of these bacteria are resisting the drugs that we used to kill them with. Very important research that he's doing, and that's why he is recognized by this scholarship that is based in the USA, and that is also why he won a scholarship from the government of Canada to come and study here. You can see what happens when people who are talented, who are smart, Nigeria just rubbishes them. Nigeria just messes them up the same way it's messing up our youth back home. And when they come to a place where you see, I don't know how to begin to explain it. I don't know. You know, people tell me, Chidi, because you're here, you do the why? Why? I'm in a place where the government actually takes care of me. If anything happens to me, the government takes care of me. If you come over from Nigeria, they recognize you. They ask you what can you do. They look at you, they analyze you, they assess you, and they treat you based on merit. They don't do things to you here because there's their brother or their. If you're standing in a line and there's 200,000 people in the line, and the number 210,000 person is the brother or sister or the mother of the person who is attending to people at the beginning of that line, they will not jump the line. They will attend to you when it is your turn. That is a system that works. Why would I not pledge allegiance to that kind of system? Why will I not fight? Why will I not be against a system that kills its young people? Look at the day they were having the demonstration by Shiite Muslims. They just shut down a youth copper, a young Nigerian who just came to serve his motherland. They shot him dead. Nothing was done. Some other girls who were members of that shack, they just shot them. They were still alive. Oh. I don't know if some of you saw that video. They were just alive. They were just there, like people who were sleeping. No ambulance, nothing. That youth copper, when they shot him, it just died. Did you see when the police came to carry the dead bodies? No respect, no body bag. They just carried them and just threw them inside the truck like that. This was the highest. This was happening in Abuja. This is like the highest level of whatever you can have in Nigeria. Go and see what happened. People, when you hear that people die in Nigeria, they die in thousands, hundreds. Oh no, 20, no, 30. Unconfirmed report said 50. Human beings, so Nigerians, young people, not old men, young, it's always the young people that are running around. See, God, it's young people. So we must resist all this kind of rubbish that's going on back home. People like Chidozie are doing their best, but what they are doing can never be enough. What they do is that they just open our eyes to the potentials of people back home. And the most annoying thing is that the youths back home, they have lost it. There is no more motivation. I'm telling you. And I can understand it because sometimes I feel that way. Like you're not motivated anymore. You no longer know what you want or what you don't want. Like you've just resided. I don't know. You're just resident to a system that you can't do anything about. You're frustrated, you're agitating, but everything has died down. There is no energy because you don't even have money. You don't even have the basic needs of life. When a human being is hungry, they have to first look for food. So because they keep you hungry, you have to look for food. There is no light, so you have to find a way to charge your phone. You have to find a way to iron your clothes. There is no water, so you have to buy water. Everything is going wrong around you, so it leaves you no time to even think about your life and your future. And the people at the helm of our affairs, the people in authority, they like these things. They like it so much because it keeps the youth very busy. Next thing, they start showing Big Brother Africa, and people will say, Chidi, what do you have against it? I don't have anything against it, but I wish the same energy that we put into watching programs like that we put the same energy into trying to resist what is going on in Nigeria, because it's our future. I'm telling you, all these people, I'm not wishing anybody dead, but very soon, according to the laws of nature, they are going to move, they are going to die off. And what will happen to the generation that they left behind? The generation that they raped all their resources, the generation that they misappropriated, misused everything that belonged to that generation. What will happen to them? You understand? And the one that is annoying me is people that will come out and tell me that they are doing what is it? 4-4, 4-4, 4-4. You know? Why? How can you go to bed and sleep? Or you come and you're telling me about next level? Or you come and tell me that you're a supporter of Muhammad Buhari, the president of Nigeria? How can you even say that? If you think I'm going partisan, yes, but that's what I've always said. That's where I belong. The country is being run by people who don't have the intellect, who are not intelligent, they are not intelligent. Whether book intelligence, see, if you don't have book intelligence, you don't have to have a PhD, you don't have to have a master's degree. People who have ruled in the past, some kings, some chiefs, they didn't have degrees in the university, but they ruled. They led their people with passion, with love, and they led their people well. But when you don't have a clue about what it takes to lead your people, which basically is love for them, then you're not going to be a good leader. And that is the problem with leadership in Nigeria. And that's why we are embarking on this revolution now. It is not a party thing. It is for everybody who is sick and tired of what is going on in Nigeria. Some of you think, oh, it's a AAC official thing. No. Yes, it was originated by people within AAC, Omoyele Sowore, but it is something through which he's trying to reach out to every other person to say it doesn't matter if you belong to UDP, it doesn't matter whether you belong to AAA, AD, whatever, DPD, whatever party you belong to, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, you need to show that you are sick and tired of what is going on in Nigeria. And what we're using to say that is the orange color. I've said this so many times. The reason why we adopted orange color was because we're looking for something that is unique, that you cannot identify to anybody. The AAC was not using orange beret before. Some people were using red beret, some people were using, in fact, there's a movement in Nigeria called the Red Beret Movement. So that's why we couldn't use the red beret. Then there's the black beret that is being used by some other organizations like Black Axe. Then you have the yellow beret, which is being used by I think it's Sea Dogs, and then there's the Buccaneers. They have so many other people using different colors of beret, but we had to choose a color that didn't identify with anybody. That's why orange is the color of revolution now. And on the 5th of August, we're going to start by a march, a million-man march all over the world. People are going to join from Asia, from the Americas, from Europe, and we're going to begin to let the government understand that things are not going right. Where we are headed, the trajectory of where Nigeria is headed is not going up, it's going deep down into the ground. We are already deep down. It will take so many years to dig Nigeria out of where we are right now. We are so deep that countries like Ghana and Rwanda and a lot of other countries have become much, much better than us. We are no longer the giants. Yes, we are giants of Africa, but we are not leading. We may be giants in terms of population, but we are not leading. In 2019, we are still arguing over Ruga. 2019. That is very shameful. All right, guys, I'd like to stop here and I'd like to thank you for coming on. Everybody who came on today, let me go ahead and thank all of you. Nonso, Just Fat, Oladimeji is there. Valo Joe, Gladys Okobo, Engineer Rick Mo Ikegwano, Izuchukwu Newman, everybody that was here, Emenaha Holiday Godwin, Chukwu Cheka, Obinna Chinyelugo, Ene Osifo, Osifo Tina, and all of you who tuned into this program. I'd like to thank all of you, Liz, Amber, and every other person. Thank you so much from Worship Media, Toronto, Canada. This is Chidi signing out.